Hello and welcome to tonight's live stream at the University of Toronto Esports. My name is Natural. I'm joined today by Elwan. Elwan, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. We've got an exciting matchup tonight to cast. It is the Intramurals playoffs. We're going to be commentating a best of three here. We've got Team Off Roll versus Inters, which I believe the full title is 4.5 Inters, which is a very interesting title. So we've got a best of three here on our hands. It is a elimination series. This is a single elimination tournament. So if either team lose, they're out of the tournament. It's going to be an exciting matchup. I really like what some of these teams, we looked at some of their OPGGs. If you could run me through some of the interesting things that you've noticed, if anything like caught your eye or there was something interesting in there.
Well, I must say the teams' names are quite apt, quite well named. A lot of them do appear to be off role or at least switching roles during different games. So just because you see maybe some team's top laner isn't always going to be playing top lane, right? You might have the support switching to mid, the mid switching to top. So, lots of interesting dynamics in draft that's going to create for sure, right? So that's going to allow them to pick a lot of different things. And we can see from their OPGGs that they know they have different picks. They have different picks in different lanes they can each play, basically.
Yeah, you're in for an exciting time when you look at their OPGGs and it's not what you expect every single time. So here we've got Team Off-Roll first. We're going to introduce the players. Team Off-Roll, they've got the Hollow as their top laner. Though, again, a lot of the times they do swap around. So here, this way is mid because in most of his games he has been playing mid. The Hollow is a Grandmaster Jace one-trick. So he is by far the highest elo player in this matchup. However, the vast majority of his games are on Jace, and that's why you see that icon with the banned Jace on the top left. Most likely going to be perma-banned this series. He has some games on Victor and Ambessa as well. But for the rest of the team, we've got DP, who is mostly a top player. He plays a lot of Tryndamere, some Renekton as well. I believe these are their favorite champions, if I remember correctly. Corti Bluefist there in the jungle with Viego, yours as the Jhin, and CCH, who I might just be calling Char for the rest of the series, just because it's a little bit easier to pronounce, on the Leona there in the support role. And for Team Inters, please introduce them, Elwan.
Yes, indeed. So here we have Team Inters with their preferred champs. We have in the top lane the Panda, who will sometimes swap with man skills depending on the preferences depending on their draft. Here with his Malphite signature, tank top laner, good solid pick. Dalek with the Zed. Dalek, a good jungle player, plays mostly jungle. With his Zed, also swaps with the Panda sometimes. We have in the mid lane Seraph Bost, which I might just call Sarah, with his with his Syndra, a great scaling pick, of course, combined with the Jinx of Mana Skills, another great scaling pick, and Moon with his Bard, which he plays a lot. Basically, all of his games in solo queue are on Bard, so I'm expecting that to be banned this series.
Exactly. Thank you so much for the introductions, LON. Now that we're all done with the introductions, we're going to be heading to draft. So, you know, usually I like to make some predictions. I think there are some very easy predictions to be made in these drafts. I'm assuming that the chase will be banned. Team Off Roll, they're going to kick us off with the Puppy ban, which I believe is targeted straight towards, that would be the Panda, I believe, on Team Enters, who plays Poppy. So that's going to be a
Yes.
target banned towards him, and the Jace, of course, being banned from Team Enters.
Yes, the Cassante band as well. Also a very strong pick, and often picked by Inter's top laner, who does play a lot of Cassante in solo queue, which is surprising because it's not a very popular solo queue pick. It performs pretty badly in solo queue generally.
Yep. Well, it's, thankfully this is not solo queue. Even though, excuse me, there is a lot of Cassante and a lot of solo queue play style happening in a lot of these games, as we've got the Nyla band here from Inters, which I'm so sad to see because I love watching Nyla. I think she's such a fun champion to play and to watch, but it is going to be banned, as off here are considering the Jin as their first pick.
Yeah, Jin, as we saw, in the team preview earlier, right? And the Syndra as well. So that team preview might just be the preview for the draft. And Yunara immediately picked as well. Strong pick, played very often as well.
Yeah, Syndra, Yunara. So Syndra most likely going to be going over here for Seraphos on Team Enters. So Seraphos presumably going mid. So again, as we mentioned, Team Off Roll and Team Enters both have a lot of players who are off their main roles, which means a few things, but mainly it means that they can swap things around, which is going to be happening a lot in all two, maybe three of the games in the series, as Team Off Roll here are going to pick the Leona for their support, and Jax most likely going top lane here, as Team Enters will round out their first round of picks, with the Dr. Mundo.
Dr. Mundo, which could be going both top and jungle, right? In Worlds, we saw it a lot in the jungle, not at all in the top lane. But I think it's a great pick here, right? That both the Jin and the Jax will have trouble really dealing with that Mundo, with that CC immunity as well. It can be a great effective frontline, and the Jin just isn't really the damage you're looking for that Mundo, right? Jin is great at killing squishy targets, can really has a lot of burst, but there's no real percent HP damage, no on hit, can't buy Bork. So that Mundo is going to be very hard to kill if they don't draft against it.
Indeed. As our second round of bans here coming out, we've got the Akali going down for off, as Inters are going to be banning the Gwen and the Victor. It seems like Team Inters are trying to basically ban away any chances that can deal with the Mundo easily, and they're familiar to Team Off Roll here. As as you mentioned, the Jin not exactly the best at dealing with big tanks. There are a few picks left in the mid lane that could potentially, burn down a Dr. Mundo. Are there any picks in particular that you're expecting here?
Ooh, well, see, the Victor ban, I think, would have been a great pick. I think to match the scaling. I think what scares me a lot here is I think they need a scale, either a very strong scaling mid like the Victor, or a very strong early game mid. So I'm expecting maybe a Smolder for the scaling to match that Yunara Syndra Mundo scaling, or some early game pick, some stronger early game, maybe a Galio, which can go in, can engage, really strong off that first back. So that's what I'm looking at for this draft, I think.
Yeah, Team Inter so far have an excellent scaling comp. They are going to pick up the Rel for their bot lane here. So they also have quite a decent amount of engage and disengage at this point as well, with the Syndra E, the Rel engage. Some very nice team fighting here for Team Inters. Team Off Roll, they definitely have a little bit more of a pick comp here with the Leona, the Jin, and the Jax. Seems like they're considering their pick for quite a while here. They're also maybe not too sure what to pick, and it's going to be the Talia here. So really going for that kind of pick composition here for Team Off Roll.
Yeah. So I think this is where they're deciding to kind of decide. They see that Team Interest has a comp that's really going to work really well on these team fights. And well, so they're drafting a comp that's going to be much stronger on side lane, right? That Jack's going to be able to push those towers, clear those waves, and that Talia ult is going to be able to help him out, Jin can help from a distance as well with his ult. So that's really going to be trying to not fight team inters where they're strongest and instead trying to find picks on side lane.
Yeah, that's a pretty accurate assessment, I believe. As Viego here is going to be picked in the jungle for team off role. Very much as you said, very strong side lanes here with the Talia, the Jax, also very decent pick potential. And, if you manage to find that first kill with a Talia shove, a Jin W, Viego reset, you can snowball a team fight from there, but it's definitely a little bit more difficult to perform in these team fights compared to team enters who will round out their team composition with the Wukong. So we now most likely know that Wukong is going to be going jungle and Dr. Muda will be going in the top lane. So now looking at both of these team compositions, Edwin, do you have a prediction to make about who is going to win game one?
I have the favorite team mentors here. I think they have better scaling, better team fight, and I think in these kinds of games where some teams have a hard time closing out games that can last longer than they might in pro play, right? Even in pro play, we see this kind of draft happen a lot around like very important matches, right? When you're reaching that single eliminations, like last few brackets, no one wants to lose. No one wants to make that game deciding mistake. And so people are a lot more careful, and so games go longer. And that's when you see the scaling of the Yunara, the Syndra, and the Mundo really, I think, pick up. And I think Team Offroll are gonna have a really hard time dealing with that in the late game.
Yeah, that's I like that assessment as well. Um, Team enters definitely have a significantly easier to execute team composition, especially in these team fights, as you mentioned. And the scaling is very easy as well. You kind of sit back, you relax, you can give away 2 dragons, maybe even 3, and fight at the 4th, and you'll probably be stronger. So team enters have a little bit of an easier time here. They definitely don't have to be as proactive, but I do think that Team Off-Roll have the tools to be a proactive kind of early mid-game skirmishing team. I think they've weaponized themselves quite well. I think they have definitely the champions and the picks to make their team composition work. I will
Yeah,
bet on team off roll just to make things interesting. But in reality, I do agree that I think team enters have a little bit of an easier time here.
yeah, I'm particularly scared for this Viego pick. I mean, we saw this exact jungle matchup. I mean, not jungle, right? The Mundo was jungle at Worlds. Here it's top lane, but we saw this matchup at Worlds in the finals, and T1 had this Viego, and at the start, the Viego got a few kills, but when the game got to late game, the Mundo was peeling so effectively and was so tanky. They could never get that first reset for Viego, and at that point, Viego becomes a
Yeah.
subpar champion, right? Because so much of his power budget is in that reset. Without that reset, you just lose so much of your power. And if you can't assassinate the Yanara or the Syndra, you just kind of become useless.
Yeah, that's definitely one way of putting it. I watched that game too, and let me tell you, I don't know. The idea I think behind the Viego and Mundo matchup, I think, is that you can build these like tank busting items, quote unquote, right? You can build a Borg. Technically, though, I don't think Viego players build Borg anymore. It's more of like the Kraken Slayer and Triforce type of thing. But I mean, there's a point at which it doesn't matter what items you have. Dr. Muda is just going to eat all of that and heal past it. So yeah, I do see where you're coming from there. I watched that game too. It was an entertaining one. Um, it seems like we have a little bit of a delay as far as getting into the game goes. So we'll have to wait just a little bit, but hopefully we'll get into games soon enough. In the meantime, we can talk a little bit more about perhaps this bot lane. Jin Leona, I mean, that's a kill lane. In my opinion, that is definitely something that is relatively easy to play into your RL. Are you expecting anything to go down in that bot lane?
I sure hope that Team Offroll can get something off in that well lane because I think Jin Leona is gonna have a lot more lane dominance than the Rel, especially the Rel. I think is gonna be a lot better in these team fights, right? So they need to trade that off with some lane dominance, some lane pressure, hopefully some kills, right? If that Jin gets ahead, he can really start doing big damage to that Yunara and that Syndra, and really have that impact in these fights. I think he's gonna need to either be very far ahead early game or gonna scale to late game where with a lot of items he can maybe hit that 4 shot on one of the carries and just immediately kill them. And I think that's how he's gonna be useful this game.
Yeah, it's well, I'm excited to see how things play out either way. I think the only thing that I really wouldn't want is Team Up Roll kind of fumbling their early game or mid game team comp, getting aced at like a second or third dragon, and the game is just kind of over from there. That would be pretty lame. However, the last time that these two teams faced off, we actually do have a precedent for this matchup. I believe it was Team Enters that won last time. I do not know if it was a 2-1 or 2-0. However, it seems like we have a little bit of a precedent there. These teams are also the second and third teams ranked on the intramural ladder. So these are definitely teams that have made it pretty far into the bracket. So I'm expecting to see some decent gameplay here.
Yeah, if you didn't follow the group stage, we had two groups, and then when we went into the playoffs, we've actually seen we had Group Poro and Group Scuttle. Both of these teams are in Group Scuttle, the second and third team of that group. And as of right now, all of the teams in Poro Group have been eliminated, and it is now only teams from Scuttle Group that remain. So there was definitely a group that was above the other. So these teams are probably the second and third best team we have in these intramurals.
Very interesting to me that one group just got completely eliminated. I mean, there's got to be like some kind of curse or something going on there. Not sure what happened to poor Team Poro, but they are gone at this point. Well and gone, as we should be getting into the game as we speak. And there we are. Welcome to game number 1 of this series. We've got a little bit of a formatting issue here with the HUD, but it will be fixed relatively soon, hopefully. We still have a little bit of an issue. It's definitely not aligned with the HUD. So, but we can at least see something, which is good news, and we can't see anything anymore. Okay.
We are having still a few technical issues, but the game seems to be a little too zoomed in. And Mundo, of course, in the chat, spamming that push, push, push. I mean, if you've been following any League of Legends content and are not living under a rock, you know what that means. The typical Lois push, 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 hoping to really take advantage of that split pushing power the Mundo has.
Yeah, it's like a reference to that one song, I think, that Aloysius was it? I believe it was Aloysius, right, that popularized it, that he would constantly put it on his social media whenever he played it. It's pretty funny. It's like completely ingrained in my mind now. Anytime I hear that song, I just think about Mundo and literally nothing else. Okay, well, hopefully we'll get to see the HUD fixed at some point. But for now, we're just going to take a look at some of these laning phases here. Yours and Char should be able to get the push in this lane, though. Queuing the Rel might not be the first to level 2.
Yeah, it seems like they're losing the push here, which I mean, it's close, right? It's close, but that's going to give the Rel and the Yunara access to levels earlier, and that's just going to make it so much harder for them to try and get kills, get an advantage in this lane.
Yeah,
they are RPCS, though.
As it looks like kind of hard to tell with the HUD being cut off a little bit, but it looks like the Viego will be pathing towards the top side, while the Wukong will be pathing towards the bottom side. So we've got different directions here for junglers, as that's going to be a nice shove by the Hollow, who doesn't have that many games on the Talia, but proficient enough, it seems, to be able to lane into the Syndra. So far, some trading, but nothing too exciting happening on the map. Where do you expect the first gank to happen?
I think this Diego is pathing top. He's planning on ganking top. I think this Jax is trading very heavily into the Mundo, and I think with Mundo's regen, it has to be because he wants to get a gank off.
Perfect.
I think that's and we have the normal HUD is back, and it looks like this Wukong's just going to go for the crab, while perhaps we'll see a gank on the top side where the Mundo is pushing in, so is vulnerable.
Nice dodge on the clear there by DP. As the HUD is back, we can now see, which is fantastic news for everyone. As we've got our first gank happening here, and he's just dead. That's a lot of damage that even I wasn't expecting there on the W with the Jax. And the Panda is just going to die here. He will most likely be using his teleport to come back to lane. Viego is still there, but I don't think they're going to wait for him. It looks like the Viego is just going to go for a recall, and that's going to be first blood for Team Off-Roll.
Yeah, the Panda will be able to save that teleport because he's managed to push out that wave. But I think DP21 has managed to set up a freeze. I think it because he's not pushing out, and I would have expected him to push out in the situation. Yes, it looks like it's frozen, and he's
No, it's
TPing back.
frozen.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's not going to teleport back into the freeze. He loses a few minions, but it's not too bad. As you mentioned, I mean, Mundo outscales pretty hard. But I feel like with an advantage, Jax can still win in some of these side lanes. I'm not exactly sure how the matchup works, but
Yeah, I'm not very well versed in it myself, but I do know Jax is generally a very strong side lane presence, and Mundo really struggles until he gets that first item, right? Either get that Bork for that HP and that regen, or the Heart Steel for the more scaling and more damage. And with this amount of a lead, Jax is going to be able to really pummel him in the early game, and I think this is going to be a very big point of pressure for Team Awful.
So Miss Cleaver is there from the Panda. He's losing these trades just a little bit. As it looks like Team Off-Roll are going to be starting off this dragon. Team Inters are considering fighting this one, though. Either jungler is level 6. Balak not going to get hit by the Jin W. Is going to have to flash out of the Talia shove. DK Moon is still kind of looking for something, but I don't think they should fight this. I think at this point, Team Off-Roll not actually going to take this dragon, despite the fact that they got the flash from the jungler. I do believe they could have went for that dragon.
Yeah, I think it might have been QWERTY might have called it off. He is low HP, whereas the Wukong, even though he has lost flash, is full health. That might have been the reason. Not exactly sure though, because as we discussed in draft, Team Off-Roll really needs these dragons, right? They cannot afford to let Team Mentors grab these dragons for that late game scaling.
Yeah. Instead, both bot laners are going to recall. And DB here is a little bit low on HP. As Balak's still not level 6, doesn't have access to the flash, but still looking for the gank here. The Hollow is going to flash out, and the Unleashed Power is going to do so much damage. The Wukong will be able to take the kill, and that's 1 kill back for Team Inters. As DP here is fighting the Panda here, he still has access to the flash. Cleaver is going to hit, and he's not going to go for the kill, as that's going to be just 1 kill back for Team Inters.
Yeah, that Cleaver does so little damage when your target's already low in health. And the Viego here coming in for the gank, I don't think he'll be able to get this kill, but there is no passive on the Mundo. Gets the flash and the ult.
Able to get the flash, which is pretty nice. But yeah, he's just going to pop the ult, and he should be fine in this lane. As DB doesn't have access to the teleport, meanwhile the Panda does, so he's actually in a completely fine state here in the window.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah, that saving that teleport when going back to lane, I think DP could have maybe walked back to lane after freezing, or should have maybe pushed out, because this teleport advantage would have really, if he had managed to keep that teleport, would have really allowed him to just really keep out that pressure in lane, whereas here he's going to be a bit lower, and it seems like there's some heavy trading going on the top side after getting that plant. He's just going to catch the wave.
Yeah. Both top laners not interacting with each other too much after that gank. As Seraphos, man, the Hollow is hitting these shoves pretty much every time we have the camera on mid lane. But still, the trade back from Seraphos is also excellent. It feels like they're both just hitting their skill shots and pummeling each other. As yeah, the teleport advantage that we talked about there, the Panda is going to come back to lane. The DP is playing very far forward. I think he's bluffing that the Viego is here. I don't really see another reason why the Panda shouldn't be able to just kind of run at him. As yeah, just kind of playing pretty far up into this lane. Team Inters have set up a freeze in the bot lane here, though it is going to be broken. As you can see, they have a lot more ranged creeps, though. That's a very nice shattering strike here. Yours already using the flash. Mad skills, though. He popped the ultimate. One more auto is going to do it. He's going to flash in, take the kill. Try is going to be low. I don't think they're going to go for the kill, but that's a very nice 2v2 by Team Inters.
Yeah, and here's where we were talking about that level difference, right? 2 level 6s on the side of Team Inters, no level 6s on the side of Team Off-Rolls for that bot lane, and that makes all the difference in that 2v2, right? 2 ults for 0 ults, the fight is just not winnable no matter how well you play it. And now Team Inters can start the Drake from that bot push.
They start the dragon. It is going to be traded by Team Off-Roll by the Grubs, but I do believe that the dragons here are really what matters. I mean, Team Inters are going to be able to scale into this game really, really cleanly now that they have an advantage in the bot lane. They have the first dragon, so they buy themselves so much time as well. And as you mentioned, if you have 2 level 6s and the other team doesn't, the 2v2 becomes significantly easier. As Belek looking for 1v1 here, excuse me, for a gank, and he's going to be able to fight it. He's just going to take that kill. Honestly, I don't even think that the help was needed there, as Belek still has access to the ult. Cordy Bluefist has to be a little bit careful. He's going to be able to make it out alive. But Team Enters are really finding a lot of these opportunities around the map.
Yeah, I mean, I think usually I would say when you have a Jackson side lane and a Jackson window, you think the grubs are very worth it, right? Because you want to be hitting those towers. But in this matchup specifically, I believe that Team Interest really likes that Drake. And here the Jax, I don't think will be able to get out of this 2v2 alive. The flash ward hop,
Flash
but how will
follow
he get over
through.
the wall? Oh wow,
Balak, I think.
The blast gun is there. He can get out if
Yeah.
he wants to. And the Mundo ID
Cordy
caught here
is going to
from
be able
this
to find
gang.
the stun. He'll be fine.
Survives. Pops the
As yeah, both top players here are kind of trying to find a kill. None being able to be found. But yeah, to go back to your last point, I mean, it looks like the Talia might actually be looking for a dive here. We can see that she's looking for an ult. Yeah, the ult is going to be used in the top side, and Mundo is going to be able to make it out. He is low HP, but doesn't have access to the ultimate either, but he'll be fine. But going back to your previous point, you were saying maybe the grubs are not that worth it this game?
Well, I think they're not as worth it as the Drake. I think the Drake is just more worth it. Just having that now, Inters basically have another 20 minutes to scale for free if they just want to give every objective. And the fact that they can do that basically just gives them free reign to get to like 3-item Mundo, Syndra with full stacks, 3-item Minara. And that's when I think Team Off-Roll is going to really have a hard time.
I want to mention as well, this is the second time that we've seen Manskills tank a Jin W to block the cannon. Yours is losing a lot of gold. He is down 16 CS, a little bit more, 18 CS. As we obviously that will catch up a little bit as he catches this wave, but he keeps missing these cannons, and the gold difference here in the bot lane is definitely not small. 600 gold at 11 minutes, 2 kills effectively here for the Yunara, and a champion that already outscales pretty heavily. It seems like they're going to stay here for now. The Wukong is maybe looking for something, but I'm not sure if they can dive. Yeah, he's just going to recall, as the Hollow is very low here. The Unleashed power is available for the Syndra, but not going to use it. And I think I'm really looking at this second dragon as the next opportunity for these fights to find an advantage.
Yeah, Mundo now finally has his Warmog, so he is, while not completely unkillable, has so much sustain in lane that he can trade half his health for half your health, and then he'll just heal it all back up. So this makes these trades really hard for the Jax. Jax has to either go all in and kill the entire Mundo health bar, including the ulti and the W, or trade as little as possible, which is going to make fighting this really hard.
Yeah, this is perhaps a point in the game where Mundo starts becoming significantly more frustrating to deal with for pretty much every top laner in the game, I believe. He just kind of out heals you no matter what. The Wukong here, Balak on the Wukong is pretty accelerated. He's got 2 kills. He's got his Triforce unlocked. Viego on the other hand side also has, you can see these 1-item power specs are really coming through for pretty much every single player besides the supports. So pretty even across the map, as it looks like Team Off-Roll are going to be looking for a dive on the top side, while Team Enters are looking for the bot side here. Panda, though, is a Mundo, and he still has access to the ultimate as well as the flash. They're going to be trying to take him down here. The Heartbreaker is going to do some damage, and it's 1-for-1 traded. I think pretty well played there by the Panda to be able to find a return kill on the dive.
Yeah, agreed. Completely agree. I mean, a 3v1 situation like that, I think it was maybe a little greedy by Team Off-Roll. I mean, DP21 was just so low, and now the Syndra is getting so many plates mid.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Syndra being there mid as well is going to be able to take a lot of gold. And yours a little bit mispositioned there against the Rel. He's going to have to use his flash. He does not have access to the cleanse, which is very interesting. I would think that a cleanse here this game would probably be very decent in this matchup. As now DK Moon just kind of is able to sit in this bush and constantly threaten yours with the possibility of a 2v2. It's rough here. And you can see for a 3rd time blocking the Jin W here. I don't know if the cannon is actually going to die. It doesn't look like it, so he should be able to get it. Yeah, he's going to be able to get it. But man, that is petrifying to see, as the Panda here is just being ran down by the Jax here. DP, does he have access to another jump? Yes, he will. Another W, and that's an easy solo kill for the Jackson top lane.
I feel like the Panda was not allowed to be that far up. I think he was being very, very greedy. There might have been a plate there that he wanted to grab. Looks like the plates just fell off, so I think that's probably what happened. But he was basically at 1/3 of his health, even less. And that's just he's just gonna get run down by that Jax in that long, long lane, who has access to all those jumps to the wards, to the minions. And now Jax gets a full top tier 1, gets to push out that wave. And while Inters do get the Drake, this Jax could still become a major problem with all this gold injection he's getting.
As Team Enters are going to be able to claim the second dragon of the game for themselves. So the Jax is fed, but I do believe that Team Enters have quite a lot of tools to deal with him, right? I mean, you have the Syndra to push him back, you have a Wukong, you have Rel. There's quite a lot of peel here to deal with him, as the Hollow taking a lot of damage here. That shove is not going to be able to hit, and Seraphos has control over this lane. 30 CS ahead as well, is doing pretty well. DP might be looking for some kind of gank, but no, he's just going to recall. And now with the first turret gone as well, I feel like this is the kind of game where, okay, team off roll, they definitely have a little bit of a win condition in the Jax, but is the Jax really stronger than all that team fighting that Team Enters has?
It's going to be hard to see. I mean, here, I think if Team Enters are going to be allowed to get this Herald, I mean, it looks like so. Diego's going to have a very hard time getting in, and they might look to contest, but I think that they're going to be too late. They're going to be too late. And Team Interest is just getting way too many objectives for such a high scaling comp, I think.
The good news is that the Herald is less valuable now that the first turret is gone. But yeah, that's definitely not something that you want to do. Giving up objectives as a team that gets outscaled is generally not a good game plan. This mid turret is very low as well. It'll probably fall very soon. But yeah, I mean, I think you want to contest these objectives, but your AD carry is bot. Meanwhile, everyone on Team Enters is there. That's a guaranteed losing fight, unless Team Enters, well, completely int it. Huh? But I don't really see that happening. And Team Off Roller falling behind slowly and surely, as Yuzkir is by himself, very far forwards, and just completely mispositions. No real way to sugarcoat that one, as Seraphos here is by himself in the bot lane, will be able to get that tower. Meanwhile, Char is going to be looking for a pick onto DK Moon. DP is on the backside, trying to find man skills, but he's going to be able to dash out. He's going to flash over the wall. DP is going to flash follow. Man skills should be dead here, and that's a big shutdown coming in for the Jax. Blake is now all by himself into the turret, but Team Enters finding turrets on the side lanes.
Yeah, I mean, you get 2 kills in the mid lane, but you don't get that tower. Meanwhile, the Panda and Seraphos just got 2 towers, right, bot and top, and I think that's just more gold injection. Those kills don't really net you anything, and it was a nice play. It looked good, but in the end, Team Interest actually got more gold off of that because of their macro play, and the Leona is just dead.
And that was
Really
definitely not worth it.
For sure.
As yeah, the Seraphos is performing really well. The Syndra looks very clean, is finding the stuns, is finding the ultimates, and as you mentioned, turrets are very valuable. And it's not going to be as big of a lead. Before this fight, I believe Team Interest was about 2k gold ahead, and they are still about 2k gold ahead. So as you mentioned, the gold diff hasn't really changed much at all.
Yeah, I mean, I like that you point out Seraphos' performance, because he has been playing incredibly well this game. I don't think the Hollow has been playing badly at all. He's been hitting those skill shots consistently when we were on his POV, but the Syndra has some harder to skill shots. Some harder to hit skill shots sometimes, and just more consistent damage. And we've just seen that in that lane. They've both been hitting everything basically, but the Syndra got that first item back first, and that allowed her to exert a lot of pressure. And she's now at 190 CS before 19 minutes. I mean, this is an incredible farming from her.
We are chovying, which is a wonderful thing to see in amateur games. Not very often that you can see someone beat the 10 CS per minute record here, as 2 items unlocked already. Blackfire Torch, as well as that item that I can never remember the name of.
Cosmic Drive.
Very strong. Yes, thank you. Listen, it's been a while since I've played League of Legends, so I'm a little bit rusty on the item names. But 2 items also unlocked for the Panda here, despite the fact that he is, he did get beat and solo killed in lane. But doesn't really matter as we've seen consistently both of these AD carries. He's a little bit too far forward in those lanes, but Manscales will be able to make it out. And now with the third dragon coming up in only 40 seconds, both teams recalling and preparing for that. As I think we just reset the HUD a little bit.
Yeah, we just wanted to show you that beautiful logo because it's obviously amazing and you want to see it more.
That's sick. That's sick. No, great. Honestly, completely unironically, I think University of Toronto has some great people working there. As okay, both teams getting ready here for this dragon. And is it fair to say that do you also feel a little bit worried here for team off?
Oh, I feel extremely worried. I mean, the only person with Wukong goes in.
They're looking for the engage. The Hollow here is already taken down low. He's gonna have to flash out. Char, all three of them completely stuck. That's a beautiful Wukong cycle, and they just disappear from my screen. It's a triple kill for the Wukong, as DP and Yours are the only ones left alive here for team off, and I think we were right to be worried, as Yours here is just gonna die to the unleashed power. That's so much damage. DP here is the only one left alive, and I don't think it's gonna be for very long, as it's going to be an ace for Team Enters, the Dragon as well, and I think we can call it there. I do believe that at this point, Team Enters is most likely going to take the game.
Yeah, I think this is a 90 to 95 to 5 situation. I mean, a clean ace for the outscaling team that's ahead in objective and ahead in gold. I mean, you could see that Syndra being so far ahead, right? That damage from that Syndra just absolutely one-shotting everyone. And the Jax was offline, the Team Off-Roll's strongest member wasn't in that fight when they all get caught. And that Rel Wukong combo just knocks up everyone and they just don't get to play the game. And they get the Otacon off of it. That's another buff that's going to give them even more permanent stats in the long run.
It's a beautiful day to see. I love those team fights where you just get to see the circles. You know, you get to see the Rel circle and then the Wukong circle, and everything just overlaps perfectly with another. I believe it was like a QE from the Syndra as well that did so much damage. When everything overlaps and the people just disappear off your screen, it is such a satisfying time to watch. If you're a fan of Team Enters, obviously. If you're a fan of Team Offline, that's a little bit depressing. But now with the Otacon, the Soul Point, 6k gold ahead, the rest of this game should be a formality for your Team Enters, as it's going to be, you know, for Team Off-Roll, I think at this point they just have to find some kind of pick. They have to find a miracle to make this game work for them at this point. I don't know how they're going to make it work. I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard. I mean, the issue with this is that the only real pick targets that you have are the Syndra and the Yunara, right? The Wukong is incredibly fed. 2 items already. Very strong with these 2 items, right? Probably the biggest spike he's going to have right here. Triforce and Sundered Sky, sorry.
Oh, my brother is just gone. There is no getting out of this one. And consistently, it is the bot lane here of Team Offline that are giving Team Enters the opportunities to just rack up more and more kills. It's a bad day here for Team Offline, or Off-Roll, excuse me, as a DP. He's a little bit caught. He's going to dash over the wall, but Diego trying to save his teammate here is just not going to work out, as Manskills pick up another kill. And with this, they should be able to get the tier 2 in the bot lane, and maybe even make a push for the inhibitors here.
For safety's sake, but I mean, at this point, there's only two down, and you can see that Jax tries to go in. He has that board. He's meant to be the tank killer on this team, but he just takes too much damage.
Yeah, there's no winning the front to backs at this point for Team Offline. It has to be some kind of unfair fight in their advantage for them to be able to win. But Team Int is not giving it to them so far, as we've got the 4th dragon coming up in 2 minutes, so we still got time here before the soul, but it is a very powerful one. I mean, the Hextech soul in this game, if they do get it, is, I mean, if this wasn't a death sentence beforehand, if they get the Hextech soul, it is, I don't even know what to call it.
Oh, that would be all she wrote for sure. I mean, especially with that Syndra, I mean, the extra slow, the Yunara also has a lot of range. It's just, I mean, the engage is already so hard to peel off, right? As we saw in that fight. When the Rel jumps on you, when the Wukong jumps on you, it's so hard to peel them off. Imagine if they had extra damage that also slowed you. I think they would not be able to play these team fights at all.
Yeah, not that they are able to play them at the moment, but it would be even worse, certainly. As I think you saw there for a second that Team Off-Roll were looking for some kind of a pick on the Yunara, and honestly, I think they should have gone for it. But Manskills did have the flash and cleanse, so he might have been able to survive. But at this point, you really don't have that much to lose. But regardless, they decided against it. And now there's a little bit of a pause in the game, as I think both teams are waiting for this last dragon. As the Panic here is 1v2. However, he is a Mundo. He's going to get knocked back, and that Bork is starting to do some work, as the Panda is going to get stunned. He's going to flash out, flash follow through from DP12, but the Mundo ultimate is just absolutely disgusting. The Panda is finally going to die. However, now Balak is going to flash in with the Cyclone. He's going to be able to find a knockup on both. However, none died so far. He's going to be able to dodge on the Jin W, but it does not matter, as Seraphos completely evaporates from my screen with the Syndra damage. The curtains have been called, however, they are quite short range. I think Seraphos is just going to be able to knock him away from melee range. That was definitely way too close to do a Jin ultimate, as this is a quadra kill for Seraphos, as well as the Ace and the Baron for Team Inters.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was talking about. That Jin not being able to do much damage, and I mean even with the Bork, even with the tank killing items, that Mundo just takes so long to kill that Team Inters, even though they aren't in a good position at the start, even though it is a pick, they have the time to walk in and make it a team fight, right? They have that Mundo just lives for so long, and that's why I was saying they have so few people to try and get a pick on, because if you try and get a pick on the Mundo, if there's only two of you, it's just not enough. You kill him so slowly. And Team Inters here is going to get that Baron and the Soul and push for the end, I'm sure.
As that's going to be the Soul. As DB12, I respect the attempt here for looking for picks and trying to make some proactive plays on the map. If anything, I can definitely respect that. It is better to die fighting than to lose laying on the ground and waiting for it to end. As, yeah, now with the Soul and the Baron, I think this might be wraps. I think we're just waiting on a singular pick or force from Team Inters to finish this game.
Yeah, we see them mostly back and get some items. And I mean, look at this Syndra here. 10 stacks on her Morello. Not Morello, sorry. I'm not an AP carry player. Medjai's, thank you. And a fully completed Rabidon 6-0 and 6, 260 CS. Absolutely incredible performance here from Seraphos, who at this point I think is able to just about one-shot everyone on Team Off-Roll.
I mean, even that was 1 W onto the Jin by Manskills, right? And that's like 30% of his hit points gone. As Seafast, oh my lord, that is a lot of damage. It's kind of absurd. Seraphos and Manskills here are just going to keep pelleting Team Off-Roll until they find a kill. It's really just a matter of time before someone gets hit, as they're going to be forcing this tier 1. Team Off-Roll are going to respect that. That's a nice scout of the week. Is going to absolutely evaporate the hollow, and a decent engage from DK Moon. Will the Viego be able to find a reset? No, he will not. As the E from the Seraphos is absolutely beautiful. DP12 will most likely die as well. He will be able to find the stun and actually take the Yunara down with him. It is a triple kill for Manskills, as Team Inters will be taking game 1 of this best of 3.
Yeah, that was a really nice try by QWERTY there. Nearly got that reset on the Syndra, which could have changed the fight, right? If he gets into that Syndra form, manages to use all that power, he might have been able to, hit in the backline. He was behind the enemy team, and then with the Jax coming in from in front, they could have maybe managed to 2v4 them, 2v3 them. But even with that, I'm not sure it would have been enough.
Somehow I doubt it. I think even if he does get the Syndra form, I think he pops out of it, and then immediately the Yunara just the 20% HP that's left on his health bar, and he's just gone. But regardless, I think the game was more or less done after that ace that happened in the mid lane. But Hey, your prediction was correct. My prediction was wrong. You know, so congrats, 1-0 for you for now. But I mean, congratulations to Team Enters as well. I think very cleanly played. Their draft was very straightforward, outscale, play the team fights, get the objectives. And that's kind of the meta that we've been seeing so far. I think since Worlds, pretty much. It's a lot of team fight focus. It's a lot of 5v5. Side lanes are like a last resort type of strategy, which you see in like game 4 or 5 of Fearless. But it's significantly easier to play. So that's going to be game 1, folks. Team Enters is now 1 up. Team Off-Roll is on their elimination game. So if they lose the next game, they're going to be out of the tournament. I think we're going to be taking a break before the next game. So we'll be right back and we'll see you then. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back to our second game of this series. Team Inter taking game 1 in a pretty decisive fashion. And what did you think of that game?
I mean, I think the game looked really good. I think we had some really good individual performances from both sides. And I think, honestly, Team Inter's, they had a very team fight focused comp, but I think their strongest win condition in the end was that they just kind of hand stiffed Team Off-Roll generally across all lanes. Of course, the Mundo having a bit of a harder time early game, but that's to be expected. The bot lane winning out, the mid lane winning out, and the jungle also ahead. So I think in the end, that's really what brought them ahead.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. I do think hands diff is a good way to put it. I think there were a few opportunities as well where Team Off was a little bit late. You know, they didn't take as much initiative as maybe they could have. There was that first dragon where we're kind of questioning, is there really a reason to back away here? But regardless, now that's in the past. Team Off-Roll They've lost to Team Inters before. They've lost their first game to Team Inters again. Let's hope that they can bounce back. I would be excited to see a 3-game series. So I'm hoping that they can mental reset, try to find another strategy that works for them, or maybe just run it back, but just get those hands a little bit warmed up, get some hand warmers maybe.
Mhm.
As the bans are coming through here from both teams and looking very similar to the bans from the first draft.
Yes, indeed. I'm wondering, I think something that's going to be very interesting this draft is whether Team Offroll is going to choose to change those players around, right? As we saw, oh, they do ban the Syndra, which they had not banned last game. A little bit of PTSD from that, right? Don't want to see that in their hands again. I was wondering if Team Offroll is going to swap some of their players around, right? Because we saw that bot lane be the main weak point, I'd say, of Team Offroll, right? They were about 0 and 10, 0, 10 and 1 at the end of that game. So that Jin not able to do a lot, neither was that Leona. So I wonder if they're going to be swapping players in different roles.
Yeah, I'm wondering that too. And I do agree that the bot lane was very rough, I think, for Team Inters. We saw a lot of those 2v2 kills that were kind of just positioning mistakes, right? It wasn't even necessarily like they got severely outplayed or they got ganked or anything like that. It was kind of being in the wrong spot. As Team Inters are going to be wanting the victor here for themselves, as it was not banned this time by Team Offroll. They banned instead the Wukong and the Syndra.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like they're running it back. Strong scaling mid laner replaces the Syndra in their previous comp, and it still does a similar enough job. Takes a bit more time to get online than the Syndra, I'd say, but has that real team fight potential. And team overall, going back with the Leona, so it looks like probably same support player because big Leona player.
Yeah, most likely going to be Char there again on the Leona here in the bot lane. Will they be running the Jhin again? Is kind of my question. Jhin Leona obviously is a very decent pairing. However, it didn't really work out that well in the first game. So I wonder if they're going to pick it here or maybe drop it down to a lower priority into the draft. Considering the Ezreal here is actually going to be locked in for Team Off-Roll.
I mean, Ezreal Leona, of course, strong bot lane pairing that Ezreal has to hit his skill shots to really do damage, get that attack speed in the early game, and that Leona with that much CC allows him to do, exactly all of that. So it's very strong in lane pairing, perhaps trying to remedy their slightly weaker lane from the first game. But I'm really worried about if Team Enters go back for the Mundo again, that Ezreal is just as bad, if not worse, as Jin to like kill big tanks.
Yeah, not only that, but I think to some extent, even though Ezreal does have access to the arcane shift, so he's a little less prone to being caught out, I do think that, outputting damage as Ezreal is arguably significantly more difficult than outputting it on Jhin or another pick entirely, like something like an MF, right? Um, but they're going to lock it in regardless. Team Inters are going to answer with the Jinx Cassante. And already, I think we can see that Team Inters are going for a very similar draft, as you said. I think this is kind of a run back from Team Inters with a very strong front to back team fighting comp.
Yeah, it's funny because three different picks, but they all achieve very similar jobs, right? Cassante's that strong front line that can side lane very well. Jinx the hyper carry, and Victor the scaling AP mage mid, right? And overall, picking the Oriana here, quite strong into Victor, good lane dominance as well, especially into Victor, which takes a long time to scale up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Victor Oriana, a matchup that we're all familiar with. I think if you watch any kind of LoL esports, this matchup has been around for a very long time. So yeah, as you said, a matchup that is certainly Oriana favored, especially in the earlier levels. Outscales a little bit. Does pretty well, I think, in team fights in comparison to something like the Talia. So now that we have this first kind of phase of bans and picks, what are you expecting here from Team Off-Roll? Maybe some draft adaptations to round out their team composition so they have a little bit of a better chance against Team Inters compared to Game 1.
Well, they're banning junglers, so I'm assuming we've already seen the Wukong ban, we've seen the Poppy ban, which is often played jungle as well, the Vi ban, so I'm assuming another jungle ban here, trying to really pinch that jungle pool. I wonder what they're going to ban here. There's a lot of different junglers. Vi is a great ban, I think, to stop her from ulting the Ezreal, really just canceling them out. And they do ban are they going to ban the Mundo again?
Hmm.
See, I was thinking that they wouldn't ban the Mundo. Before seeing the Cassante pick, I thought they were going to ban it. And then when I saw the Cassante pick, because Mundo has played top, and Cassante has always played top, basically. There's a few Cassante mid enjoyers, but that's very rare. I just thought they would drop that ban.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I'm not totally sure. I guess they think that Team Enters is willing to put the Mundo in the jungle as well and just have that like that double really heavy front line. Um, not totally sure, but either way, they're gonna ban it away. As Vladimir is gonna be banned away here from Team Enters. I'm not totally sure who that's targeting, as Nocturne is going to be the pick locked in for Team Off Roll. So I think here it's going for a very particular type of team composition, which is mostly focused around that Orianna Nocturne combo, right? It's the combo where you press R on Nocturne, you don't see anything coming, you put the ball on him, and then you press, Orianna presses R as he's flying towards you, so you don't have the time to react. It's a sick combo. Will they be able to pull it off against this Jinx is my question, as Team Enters is going to lock in the Alistar.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. This I think is better than their first game draft because they have more backline access with that Nocturne compared to the Viego, right? That Nocturne has just a point and click I jump on the backline button, whereas the Viego, as we saw with the Syndra, that was just getting CC, getting burst out really quickly. So I think this is a better adaptation from Team Off Roll here.
Yeah, and Team Interest here are opting into the Jarvan, which I'm not totally sure about. As Team of are considering their last pick, is there any pick here that you would suggest to round out their team composition? If you're like in the Discord call right now, what would you be saying?
Oof. Into Cassante, we saw the Gwen band. I'd expect. Why I'm not a big. I'm not sure. Really? Have they not picked? They might have just. I think they missed the pick timer.
Yeah,
hopefully we don't have
they're
to
dodging.
redo draft. Unwinnable,
No,
guys.
I assume not. I hope not.
Okay,
It's
I am getting
bugged. They
comms.
picked
We're getting
Pantheon.
Pantheon. Pantheon. That's very surprising.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I don't love it either. Honestly, I don't know the Pantheon Cassante matchup because Pantheon nowadays in pro play at least hasn't been seeing a lot of play in top, and by not a lot I mean not at all. We've seen it a lot in jungle,
Some support as well. Yeah.
some support, but the support role is definitely picked out here, and I'd be very surprised to see a Nocturne top. So I assume it's going to be a Pantheon top, and Pantheon doesn't have a lot of armor reduction. I mean, he does build Black Cleaver, but that's later to the game, and neither does he have a lot of like tank killing abilities, right? So I'm not a big fan of it in Texante.
I believe he has his E or something. I can't.
Oh, armor.
I don't
Armor
remember
shred?
if it's because I'm an. Yeah, I don't remember if it's because I'm a boomer or he does actually have some armor shred somewhere.
Oof.
I'm looking at the wiki right now to check.
There are 180 champions in the game, guys. You cannot expect us to know every single spell of every single champion.
Hey, I mean, you know, if it were our job, then maybe, but we're volunteers. So, yeah, okay, I don't see anything that does armor shred here. Maybe I'm misremembering something. Either way, does not matter. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I think beyond even just the armor shredding stuff, Pantheon is still considered like an early game champion that hasn't changed that much, right? And I think the idea for Team Off Roll is they're like, well, we're just gonna kill the Jinx. I think that's really their idea. We're gonna press R on top of her forehead. Everything lands. We've got Pantheon ult, Nocturne ult, Orianna ult, Ezreal, just everything. Make that Jinx explode and hopefully win the team fight like that. I'm praying for y'all. Is all I'm saying. I'm hoping that they get that plan off so we can get to game number 3 and have a little bit more of an interesting series. But so far from game 1, I'm not buying it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like both teams had very surprising last picks because we talked about the Pantheon, but as we said, right when we saw that Jarvan, we were both confused because Jarvan's big thing is to jump on the AD carry and the enemy carries in general and just log them up inside his ultimate, right? But on the enemy team, we have an Ezreal who has that arcane chip who can go through, that wall and just escape. And that really confuses me. I don't really understand why they would pick that Jarvan. Sure, they can go on the Orianna, but if the Orianna has time to press ult, maybe press one rotation of spells, late game, she's mostly done her job already, right? And I feel like they should have picked maybe a more defensive jungler to peel for the Jinx.
Yeah, totally. Maybe I'm not totally sure about the Jarvan either, to be honest. Either that, or you can pick just another fighter, right? I mean, Xin Zhao is open this game. I think Xin Zhao is an excellent pick this game. Not totally sure how the matchup into Nocturne goes, but regardless, we are going to be going into the game. Just as a reminder, this is the elimination series here for Team Enters. If Team Off Roll wins, I believe there are, I don't know, I don't remember how the format exactly works, but regardless, elimination game here for Team Enters, and I'm very excited. Are you making another prediction on Team Enters here, Elon?
Uh, so I'm actually not completely sure. I'm gonna switch it up, and I'm gonna actually go with Team Off Roll
Okay.
because there's one
Okay.
thing that I don't like in Team Interest Draft, and it's that both Jinx and Victor only really reach full potential in team fight after getting a reset. Right, they need to kill an enemy champion for Jinx to really go
Mhm.
crazy, and for Victor to get that ultimate reset to make it bigger and last longer. So I think there might be a bit of a rough time in team fights actually if they can't get that first reset.
Yeah, I think that's a possibility. But so far, we've seen that Team Enters are excellent at getting those first picks, right? They're generally a little bit more organized in their team fights. And yours has and Chara have a little bit of a tendency to be caught out, at least from game one. But you know, I'll keep being an antagonist to your predictions and predict Team Enters here, as both teams are just kind of positioning. Nothing too interesting here going on at the level one, as everyone is just defending their positions. And man, I think from both of these team compositions, I'm not expecting that much to happen in the early game here.
I think if there's something to watch in the early game, it's either top lane or bot lane, right? Mid is going to be a very strong farming lane. Victor actually pushing out the Orianna, which is actually a very, very bad look for my prediction.
Yeah, that's not looking good. You know, generally with these Orianna matchups, a lot of the time they'll stand right next to their ranged creeps, and then they'll put the ball on like next to your ranged creeps, and then they'll just constantly cue you as you're walking up to CS. But so far, as you mentioned, Seraphos doing extraordinarily well. Yeah, something like that. So we want to see more of that if you're a fan of Team Off Roll, as now the imbalance is equalizing a little bit. But the Hollow already used both of his potions here, and he's getting chunked so hard.
And that Victor damage really hurting. I mean, I'm surprised. I mean, he is playing Airy, whereas um, the Hollow is playing a move speed room, which is not gonna give him that much lane presence, and we might be seeing a gank really early here.
Belek is looking for a level 3 gank here. Not going to flash. Okay, he's going to follow the flash. Seraphos doesn't have access to his E, though, and the Hollow, the Scorch is ticking, but he's going to survive. And I think if Balak there followed up his EQ with his own flash so that the Hollow got knocked up, he would have died 100%.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, that is a very hard mechanic to do. The Hollow flashed at a great moment to be incredibly hard to follow. I mean, if this was Worlds, you'd expect to maybe see that, but at this level of play, I mean, I don't expect to see that. I'd say, and two flashes blown from Team Interest and only one from Team Offroll, so they're pretty happy with that.
Hashtag worth, as this cannon might actually die before the Hollow gets it. No, you'll be able to get it just fine. As you mentioned, you know, it's a difficult combo to pull off to do the follow through with the Jarvan EQ, but those are very often the kinds of things that matter, right? In a lot of these games, I mean, League of Legends is a game of inches, so getting that extra inch is pretty helpful. As the Panda here is taking quite a bit of damage from the Pantheon, but he has a pretty big minion wave here, so he should be fine. Just going to be trading back and forth. As Cordy Bluefist is level 4. He's looking for getting the respawn of the Raptors. No, he's actually looking for a gank, as Seraphos does not have access to the flash. This should be a free kill, and I think Seraphos realizes that he's dead, is going to be the first blood going over to Cordy Bluefist, and Team Off Roll are looking for their first kill, as well as maybe their second, to flash away from both top laners. The snipe not going to be able to find the Panda, and it's going to be a very good wave state for the Pantheon.
That was a very interesting top lane fight because you have the Pantheon who has to flash out before trying to go back in because his cooldowns are all on off rotation, and then the Cassandra realizes he has to flash out because now the Pantheon has just enough damage to kill him, and it's about to come right back up, and then both top laners just barely survive and have to TP back to top. But the Pantheon here managed to TP with a much better back than the Cassandra, right? Basically 100 more gold and items.
Yeah, it's definitely a pretty solid recall here for DP, as well as the fact that his wave state again is very decent here, as they just will not stop hitting each other. They are just consistently fighting each other. DP is looking for some more damage, and they have no potions as well. So they're just really in it for the love of the game, as the Panda here is now significantly lower HP. They're going to get access to their level 6s pretty soon. So I'm excited to see here whether the Panda is going to be able to pop the all out and make this turn into his favor. So far, bottom lane, nothing really much happening. Just some CSing back and forth. Very even. Actually, exactly even on the CS for both AD carries. As DP is going to be able to get the control over this lane and get to level 6 first. As now both teams here are looking towards the mid lane. Sir Faust is going to be able to walk out. Cordy Bluefist, level 5 as well. And both teams are kind of just trying to find more opportunities to kill each other.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that gank in the mid lane actually ended up helping the Hollow out more than hurting him. Because Seraphaz blows slash, blows his DP, and because he flashes under tower, takes 2 tower shots, and is also forced to back at the same time. So from a wait state where he was getting pushed in with lower health, getting pressured, he actually managed to TP back with, you know, a completely safe wave state. And he's now in a great wave state. I mean, maybe going to go in here with the Pantheon ult. That will be a kill. And right as I was talking about it, we see him push that advantage.
In the bot lane too, there was a kill that we didn't see, as Shark here might be getting engaged here by Balak. He is going to try to find the EQ. They don't have the damage to kill this Leona though, and yours is actually pumping out quite a bit of damage. Going to be finding the WQ. He doesn't have access to the ultimate quite yet, so just all over wins for Team Off Roll here.
Maybe you're just caster cursing and Team Intros here. I mean, this is going great. The Ezreal, I was about to complain that he wasn't getting that push he needed onto the Jinx, and then he gets that kill. And Team Off-Roll is going to start that Drake, which we were, you know, talking about how it's important in these kinds of like pick versus scaling comps. That's going to remedy their issue for the first game. I think this is basically a complete flip of the positions.
It's a great start here for Team Off Roll, certainly. As yeah, this non-stop fighting for the top laners is hilarious to me. As now the Panda does have access to the ultimate. He's not going to choose to use it. I think he's waiting here for the Jarvan to come around. The all-out is now popped. He's going to miss that first Q, but I don't think it's going to matter. I don't think DP has the damage for this. He has the Q fully charged up, and it does not matter, as the flag, well, technically just the drag from Balak is going to be able to take that kill, and Team Enters fight back.
Indeed, yeah. That Pantheon, that is awful for DP. Probably, if this was not a team game, so solo queue, he'd be typing jungle diff. He had a great lane matchup. He was doing great. And now this Cassandre is going to come back with double armor cloaks. I mean, it's just, he's going to be so much harder to kill, as we talked about. No armor reduction on that Pantheon. He's going to be having a very hard time killing it. While here we might see a kill onto the Hollow.
Hollow has access to the flash and smartly keeps it, as he's waiting for the Jarvan ult there. And Belek is, on the other hand side, waiting for him to blow the flash so then he can ult him. But he doesn't break, keeps his cool, doesn't use his flash, and he's just going to be able to walk out. In the meantime, with the roam from DK Moon here, they might just be able to take the grubs. Char is there as well, but it looks like for now the grubs are going in favor of Team Enters. In the mid lane, we've got them just kind of trading back and forth. The Victor ult is going to be popped, and the Hollow is taking some damage, but not nearly as much, as that's going to be 2 grubs going over for the Jarvan. I believe he just missed his EQ, and with Gertrude Bluefist using the ultimate there, that's going to be a secure from Team Off Roll. Jumping onto the Cassandre, but I don't expect that to be a kill. So it's going to be 2 grubs in favor of Team Enters in exchange for a kill.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that ulti popped in mid lane to try and get that wave state back. I mean, he wanted to try and get that push, kind of weaken Orianna, so he could try and go help with the grubs, right? Just make sure that he could support his jungler, and it just wasn't working out. That the Orianna, the Hollow, was very confident, just kind of stepping up to him and being like, hey, this isn't enough damage to kill me, and I'm not going to let you go out and help your jungler. I'm going to push the wave. And that there we see why, that's why Balak, I think, just got kind of caught out of position.
As you mentioned, still a very solid game state here for Team Off Roll. About 2k gold ahead is maybe not as much as they would like in these team compositions where one is heavily outscaled by the other. But still, definitely not bad. As Cordy Bluefist and the Hollow are the kind of shining characters here for Team Off-Roll this game. As Seraphos is just doing fine in this mid lane. He's getting a little gapped in terms of the gold, but hopefully he'll be able to scale equivocally as well. As now with this game state, how good of an advantage... Oh, yours here is just going to be taken down completely. Manskill's find a solo kill onto the Ezreal is definitely not what I was expecting.
No,
wow,
indeed.
that's good. That's good to say the least.
Yeah, that Jinx getting ahead is going to be an enormous issue for Team Awful if they can't deal with it. And here we see the Orianna really abuse that lane pressure, right? She's going for a more scaling build, though. She's going for a Rod of Ages like the Victor. So she's going to be doing a little bit less damage in lane, but still enough. I don't think this will result in a kill, but great lane pressure from that ulti.
The Hollow, though, is doing quite a lot of damage to Seraphos. He's going to have to flash out of the Jarvan ult. Flash followed through by the Jarvan. Meanwhile, the Panda is looking for a 1v2 into the top side. He is going to be able to get one kill. Will he be able to get the other? One more auto do it. The grasp. One more auto, the shield. The Q3, he's not going to be able to take it. But it's still a very nice play by Team Inters here.
Wow, a certain copy pasta to be put in the chat right now from that Cassante, nearly pulling off the 2v1 there. I mean, absolutely crazy champion, right? With that ulti, just turns from a tank into an assassin, basically. And in bind, this Leona, just going to take a lot of damage, but going to be safe.
Yeah, just having to flash over those Jinx traps to make sure. But man, that Cassante champion, as you mentioned, we love to see it. I mean, really, it never gets old. Of just being taken down low, you pop the ultimate, and all of a sudden, everything you do does a gazillion damage. It's fascinating, truly. As with that traded, I think the Panda is probably still ahead in gold in this matchup, and is going to be completely fine. Yeah, he's pretty much dead even against DP here. And I think the Hollow is playing these 1v1s extraordinarily well as well. Obviously, he is taken down in the end in that gank, but almost killing Seraphos as well there. As, yeah, now you can see the trades are really just going in favor of the Cassante almost every time.
Yeah, I mean, the issue here is that we see that the Pantheon DP21 built an Eclipse, which is good damage because it's percent max health damage, right? But the Cassante hasn't built any HP. He's built only armor, basically. And that Eclipse is 80 damage. So that armor is absolutely destroying his item's effectiveness. So I'm not sure if that was the right item to go for when you saw him buy 2 armor cloaks.
Well, regardless, it's going to be his choice. He might have to pay for it, but it's his choice nonetheless. As now both teams are posturing for the second dragon of the game here. And first items unlocked on most characters except the Ezreal and the Cassante here. As the Panda is just pushing in these waves, winning out on all of the trades. And neither team has started the dragon so far. It looks like they're a little bit scared to be the ones to start the dragon. As now it's going to be team off-roll here, taking it slowly. Balek is coming in to check. He's going to get engaged on by the Leona. As 2k the health on the dragon, looking for the smite here. Who's going to be able to get it? It's going to be Balek with the steal. Meanwhile, in the back line, it's Cordy Bluefist looking for the kill onto the Jinx. He is very, very low so far, but he is going to go down. It's going to be traded. Now it's a 3v3. DP221 is taken down very low as well, but this Cassante is completely unkillable. This Ezreal is going nowhere, and DP121 and the follow have to... Wow, that flash was suspicious. But nevertheless, it's going to be Team Inters here that take the dragon, as well as 2 kills for themselves.
DK Moon a little overambitious on that flash. Maybe a fan of DK, I wonder, who sadly was not at this World Championship, and it's a team that is famous for sometimes messing up a little.
To say the least. Yeah, that one key has a little bit of a curse to like, I think. Yeah, there's very good big fans of DK, including myself, who absolutely loved the team back when they did their Worlds run and won in, I believe it was 2020. Yeah, it was another time. As regardless of the Yeah, for sure. The Lolly Sports nostalgia is hitting hard, but I mean, those team fights are looking pretty close. I think we've got an interesting game on our hands in comparison to game one here, as the Panda is just bullying this Pantheon out of the lane. He doesn't even have an item. Let's see if he's going to be able to 1v2 once again. He doesn't have access to the ultimate quite yet, so this one is going to be a kill, and an easy one without any trades back. Well done there from Team Offline. Nope, Team Off Roll, excuse me.
Understandable mistake. It is the more used term when thinking of off generally.
I am it's just bad with names, to be honest. As it looks like Team Off Roll will also be able to take this Rift Herald for themselves without any contest. The Panda not being there obviously means that they have a numbers advantage and they'll be able to take it. But now that the Panda has access to his first item, I'm really worried for this Pantheon in the 1v1.
Yeah, I agree. It looks like he's probably building Black Cleaver second. The Leona here engages, but the Ezreal was knocked away. Can the Leona make it out? The Leona should be safe here.
Char is taken down pretty low. Manskill's one more auto do it, and he will get it. Gets the reset as well, does quite a lot of damage onto yours. Takes a turret shot for it, but he'll be fine. And the Nocturne is nowhere to be seen. I think yours here is probably safe, however. But that's a very nice kill in the 2v2.
Yeah, and that Leona, again, we see the bot lane's kind of slightly mispositioned, a bit too far forward in these matchups. And a great knockback from DK Moon, honestly, to knock the Ezreal out, make sure that it was basically a 2v1 in that fight.
The Alistar is very good at that. That's his job. The big bouncer of the bot lane. As this time in the mid lane, it's very even. Obviously, the Hollow with those 2 extra kills is a little bit further ahead, but it's nothing too crazy. As both teams are very close to each other. It's only a 500 gold difference at 16 minutes, which is basically dead even. One team, as we mentioned before, outscales a little bit. Balak here is going to be able to find the Ezreal. He sees him a little bit too late, so he'll be fine. And no objectives on the map means that most likely nothing is going to happen here for the next few minutes. As I say that, Victor Ultimate is going to be used. The Ezreal teleport in the bot lane used as well. But I don't think there's a dive here. Dive looks suspicious. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, diving that Leona can be very dangerous. I mean, two CC abilities, 3 if you include the ultimate, is just it's just so dangerous to get under tower, take that aggro, and then suddenly you're stuck there for 1, 2, 3 seconds, and you're just dead. While the Ezreal's pumping damage. I mean, if you're gonna be diving this, you have to be maybe 3v2, maybe 4v2 to be sure.
Yeah, it's definitely not an easy dive. Even at this time in the game, it's not an easy one. As Cordy Bluefist is has like 4 kills under his belt. He's doing pretty solid. But my question is, will a Nocturne with 4 kills really be able to kill this? Oh, as we see in the mid lane, trade flash here for the Jarvan ult. The Hollow still has access to his ultimate, but let's see if he's able to use it, as the Pantheon is just going to be brought over the wall. DP has to flash over it, so he'll be safe, and that's going to be a trade of ult for flash. Definitely worth it here for Team Enters.
Yeah, Team Enters, I mean, technically in the short term, slightly worse off, right? 2 ults down for 2 flashes. But for the next 3 minutes, having those 2 flashes down is going to be so helpful. And now that Jarvan ult is basically a kill sentence on the Orianna, and the Pantheon might just be dead here.
He's just dead. I think the Q3, not going to hit. Nice dodge there. But very, very close. Honestly, I thought he was dead on my screen, as he's going to have to recall and miss this whole entire wave. It's rough here for the Pantheon, and I think it's only going to get worse, as maybe looking for Nocturne ult here. You can see how dark and scary it is for Team Enters in the bottom side of their jungle. But they're hiding in the Tri-Brush, as DK Moon is now going to be spotted by the vision from Team Off Roll. And I'm curious to see whether they're actually going to pull the trigger on this play or not. And it doesn't look like it. Third dragon of the game now spawned. And I think the Hollow is going to be the main target here, as he does not have access to his flash.
Yeah, that's definitely a target. The Roa is soon to be proccing as well. 8 stacks on the Hollows, 7, I assume, soon to be 8 for Seraphos. So when those reach 10, that extra level is going to really help them. Really make sure they get that scaling on it. And I think that's around the time where Jinx is going to get 2 items, Victor's going to get 2 items, and that's when the scaling is going to start tipping away, maybe into Team Inter's favor.
We've got both top laners have access to the teleport as well, so can go and help their teams if they opt into it. Team off roll here. Their bot lane is actually Leona going for a recall here, I believe, just to fill up on wards. And neither team are going to go for the dragon yet. It seems like both teams are kind of scared of opting into a 5-on-5 team fight, which is understandable with a game this close. It's hard to tell who's going to take it, as now team enters are going to decide to pull the trigger, and it's a very good timing, as Cordy Bluefist is currently doing his red buff. He's actually just going to be giving it away.
I'm not sure if they know. I mean, there's no vision. Now that the bot lane's gone, you could assume so, but I mean, nothing is sure, and they're gonna get a gank of the top side for this though. But the Cassandre might be able to get an ulti. Wow, that hits! We're getting a... Wow, that was an interesting interaction. He popped the Herald, which somehow made him indisplaceable to the Cassandre ultimate. It's not a bug, it's a feature.
I think it might have been the spell shield. I think he just had the timing on the spell shield, and the ult got spell shielded.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, it does look very confusing. I cannot blame you. Cassandre ult has a lot of very silly interactions. But the Herald is going to be popped up, so they will be able to get the Rift Herald as well as that first turret. So it's more or less a trade of gold for the dragon, though it does seem like Team Enters were able to take that bottom turret as well anyways. So I think Team Off-Roll are pretty happy with this trade.
Yeah, I think Team Enters comes out ahead on it because turrets.
Team Enters, yes.
Yeah, a turret and a turret for a Drake, right? The issue here is what we talked about is that I think Team Off-Roll needs to be a little bit more proactive on these objectives. We saw in the first game as well, they had a hard time on that first one, and they're not on a great game state right now to fight these Drakes. It's not perfect, but I don't think it's going to get a whole lot better in the long term.
Yeah, I somehow don't see it getting that much better either, as 2 items unlocked for pretty much every single person here on both teams. As Bellic looking for the Nocturne here, but he should be able to get out just fine. The Hollow there as well. There's nothing to fight over, technically. There is no dragon left, but yours is a little bit mispositioned. That could potentially be an avenue here. As the Victor is being a little bit caught out by Cordy Bluefist, and that Nocturne W is very solid length duration CC. But both teams, none of them, I think, too gung-ho to pull the trigger on the Otacon, and will walk away for now.
Indeed, indeed. And now the Pantheon has completed his Black Cleaver, so I wonder if that's going to be enough to tilt that matchup in the top lane. I have a feeling that it won't be enough. I have a feeling that the Pantheon is outscaled at this point. The Cassandre, even if the Cassandre loses top lane, like the 1v1 a little, he takes so long to kill, and he's so much more useful in team fights that I believe he's gotten stronger at this point of the game.
He has been outscaled, is the TLDR, I think. I mean, the one use that Pantheon still has is he does have his ultimate. You know, you can join side lanes a little bit faster, team fights a little bit faster. But so far, we haven't really seen DP really use that to his advantage, right? We've kind of seen... I can't even remember if we've seen a Pantheon ultimate at all, actually.
We saw one gank committed and one as a pseudo TP to go into the Drake, I think.
That's right. Yeah, so...
That's the issue with having a top lane, right? If you play Pantheon jungle, you have a lot more freedom to be wherever you want on the map and ult wherever you want. Whereas top lane, you're a lot more on an island.
Yeah, that's I can see now why that might not be totally optimal here, as both teams are kind of positioning around this Otacon as if they were going to do something about it, but I don't think it's going to happen unless a pick happens first. As the Hollow is going to be totally fine here. And the Panda in this 1v1 situation, I really don't think that there's much taking him down. You can see that the Pantheon basically tickles this guy. He's completely ignoring him as he's taking this turret. And now, the Panda is 50% HP. However, he still has access to his ultimate. So that's not actually 50% HP. Do not get fooled. He's not close to actually being dead. But Team Enters will be able to take this turret mid. And I feel like the tides of the game are slowly pushing in favor of Team Int.
Yeah, actually surprised that the Oriana is actually up 1,000 gold. I'm surprised she didn't seem that high up. I guess the Hollow has been having a very strong game. Seraphos not as dominant as we saw in game one, and I think the game itself is very close, right? Basically even on gold, basically even on objectives. But the issue here is the clock is ticking. I think for Team Off-Roll.
That's definitely one way of putting it. I think with these team differences, this draft difference of scaling versus pick, being even is fake. Being even on gold is actually being in a deficit for the team that gets outscaled, as Balik and DK Moon here are just positioning around this Otacon. And now all three objectives up on the map, right? We've got the Dragon, we've got the Baron, we've got the Otacon. We've got all the reasons in the world to start a team fight. Now, my question is, who is going to start it? Who is going to start the team fight and who is going to start the objective? Both teams kind of just dancing around here, not being able to find anything so far. And it's just the dance. We're just trying to find someone to go in on. Cherry might be a little bit caught out here, is going to be chunked out. Has to be careful not to go too deep, though. It looks like the Nocturne is going straight for the Jinx, but there's no follow-up, and that's a beautiful three-man shockwave. Now it's a front to back, and in this case, we all know who's going to win the front to back, baby. It's Team Inter's. Beautiful damage here from the Jinx. Yours is trying to find a pick onto DK Moon. He's actually going to flash for it. DK Moon is going to counter flash. And I think, once again, Team Inter's just get the edge in the team fights.
That was so close, but that Victor ult, when you're all stacked up, the Oriana does work, but so does the Victor, and that Jinx. The issue here being at that Jinx, I think, that Jinx and that Victor have so much AoE damage with those rockets from the Jinx. I think Team Off-Roll should not have been so stacked up, and the issue here is that this objective, this fight, decides the game, I think, here. It's a Drake and the Otacon and set up for Nash. It's just, that's what happens when you have all three objectives. That's why this meta is so team fight focused. It's because there's so many objectives that team fights happen a lot more frequently and that happen to be a lot more important in these games.
And they're on a tight schedule as well, right? It's every 5 minutes you've got that Dragon, 20 minutes you've got the Otacon, 25 you've got the Baron. You can predict exactly when things are going to happen. That makes it so that the team that is there and does nothing the rest of the game is always just going to be in a better spot. As now 3 items on the Jinx, right? It's so much scaling and so much damage from man skills. And this is, as you said, I mean, the tides of the game now are not only in favor of Team Int, they are very heavily in their favor. As I was expecting that team fight to see the Nocturne Oriana combo, right? I was expecting the Nocturne flying onto the Oriana onto the Jinx with the Oriana ball on top of him, but I didn't see that shockwave until later. I don't think man skills got hit by the shockwave at all.
Oh yeah, I don't think they were close enough to launch it when the Nocturne had to go a bit early to save his support, to save that Leona. And I don't know if it's a case of mispositioning or miscommunication, but that's definitely disappointing. I think here for Team Off-Roll, what they need to do is wait for Oriana Rabadons and then play off of that. And I think that's their final major spike. And then hopefully they can one-shot the backline.
Yeah, that's kind of the name of the game at this point. It's hope, isn't it? It's, well, we're going to send it on this Jinx and hope that she dies. Otherwise, it's pretty cooked, I think is the correct term. As now both teams are, only objective on the map is the Baron. And I think Team Inters might just go for a start here and try to provoke a team fight here, as this Cassante is a little bit caught, but is he really? As with access to the ultimate, he is totally fine. Mad Skills, though, is getting completely one-tapped. It's a beautiful Leona ult with the Pantheon follow-up. And now, without the Jinx, do Team Off-Roll have a chance? Yours is still alive. He's doing some damage. Balik is going to be able to find one of the 2 carries. The Oriana is down now, and now it's only Yours. And I think this game is a wrap with the ace here from Team Inters. Oh my lord. Even with the Jinx dead, it's Team Inters taking the team fight win.
Wow, I'd love to see a replay of that because that fight looked so good for Team Off-Roll. I thought they had found it. I thought they'd found the engage that worked. The Jarvan ulti trapped some of his teammates inside as well, which wasn't perfect. I mean, I just thought it was great. It might not have been perfect, but it was just so good. But that Victor ult just does so much work, and I guess it just wasn't enough.
think that's the issue when you have a team composition like Team Off-Roll. Yeah, you killed the Jinx, but the Victor is still there, and he was not in that melee, right? He did not get caught by that whole wombo combo, so with the Victor still alive and all that beefy front line from Team Enters, they were still able to take the fight. And now with the Baron, the Otacon, 3 dragons under their belt, I think this is looking quite grim for Team Off-Roll at this point.
Yes, indeed. And I mean, the thing is also, this is why we see this victory will be so popular. It's because it's so hard to catch, right? You get Rod of Ages to give you extra HP, extra mana, and then your Seraph transforms that extra mana into a massive shield and extra damage. So, and now you have your ability Leandris, which is even more HP. You're just so hard to kill. I mean, you're a carry and you do a lot of damage, but even if you get caught, they have to spend so much time to kill you. And if they're spending that time on the Jinx, then you get to output so much damage in these team fights.
And it's a brutal reality that Team Off-Roll live in now, with a thick front line to get through before even touching the Jinx and the Victor. And as you mentioned, the Victor is pretty tanky himself. He's not exactly easy to kill. As you know, I kind of would have liked Team Off-Roll to go for a trap as Manskills was on the map a little bit earlier from his teammates, and he did not have access to the flash and the cleanse yet. I think I would have liked them to make a proactive play and just cut off the Baron with a pick, but instead they're playing it defensively. They're like, well, we're just gonna wait until this last dragon as their kind of chance to win a team fight. But I don't know if it's gonna come true. It's gonna be a very tough one. Balak here is gonna prop the plant. He did actually, crucially, did not find the banana brush, so he might get a little bit caught out here. He's on a ward. With the flag, he will be able to spot it out. And now their window for Team Off-Roll is gone to find a pick, as we've got a freeze. It's going to be unfrozen, thankfully. As now both teams are posturing around this Dragon Soul point. DP 121 and Char. Char is actually just going in, but I think this is ill-advised as far as engages go. The Leona ult will find one, but I don't think it's enough. Query Bluefist is going to be ulting. He flashes out with the Orianna ball on top of him, so it does nothing. Yours is going to be able to find the Jinx, though, but still, that's all of your ultimates gone, and still 2 kills going over for the side of Team Inter. So they should be able to take this dragon. Ooh, this is rough.
And that Ocean Soul for that extra healing, gonna make that front line even harder to kill, gonna make that Victor even harder to kill. And that team fight was so sad. I mean, you can see the miscommunication. It was the Leona going in, then the Pantheon trying to save her, and then she has to flash out, and then the Nocturne goes in to try and save them, but he's all alone in the team fight, so he gets focused down. And then he flashes out with the Orianna ball. I mean, just a miscommunication on miscommunication. And in these team fights that you're already so far behind in that you're losing, you can't afford those mistakes.
Even playing perfectly, I think these two fights are hard for Team Off-Roll, so with some mistakes, it gets even more brutal, as now the advantages across the board for Team Enters. There's not one lane that's doing better than their counterparts, and they have access to the soul, which is just... I mean, already this team comp is great at taking fights slowly and just slowly ramping out and out DPSing you with AoE damage, with the Victor and with the Jinx. And now it's only gonna get more brutal. Team Off-Roll, the backs against the wall. I would not like to be in their shoes at this point.
Yeah, it looks like we're gonna have. I mean, I think we were talking about it last game. I think this is even worse than in 95-5. I mean, this is an incredibly rough game. And here we see that Jarvan...
The Hollow is just getting engaged on. He doesn't have access to the flash. He disappears immediately. Quirty Bluefist is going onto the Jinx. Will he be able to take her down, though? Absolutely not is the answer. Manskills now gets the reset. Yours is trying to output as much damage as possible, but it's just not enough. It's a double kill for the Jinx already. Quirty Bluefist has left the game. A flash out from the Ezreal. And my oh my, it is just went from bad to worse here, as Team Enters should now be able to take the game fully. 30 seconds on the death timers. They have a Jinx to destroy these structures. This should not be contested. Drop every single word you have. I don't think it's going to save the state of this game. They're going to be taking the inhibitor first. Now slowly marching through to the Nexus, Team Inter is positioning themselves as the second best team in the intramurals here and eliminating Team Off-Roll from the intramurals tournament. It's going to be Team Inter is taking this series 2-0 very cleanly.
Yeah, we see a remake of their last game, right? Team Inter seems to be the dominant team in this matchup.
Dominant indeed. It definitely seems like the precedent that they had in the last series that they played against each other came true this game as well. Both games, I think, had a similar game plan. You know, they both teams came in with a similar ethos. They were like, Team Enters is like, okay, we're going to take a simple scaling team composition, front to back, hyper carry on our AD, scaling mage, and it worked perfectly both games. I think in the game two, it looked a little bit more shaky in the early game, but they caught up. They played it stable. They played it slow, and eventually they won the game.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Team Off-Roll's biggest issue, I think, was they had these globals, right? They had the Talia ult and that Pantheon ult, but as we talked about, we didn't see that much value from them. And if you have these non-team fight ultis, if you're not using them to get picks, that's just that much less power you have in team fights. And I just think they needed to be more proactive in these fights and in these picks on the side lanes to really make their comp work.
More proactivity, more, I think, yeah, as you said, I think more proactivity, a little bit quicker on the draw, perhaps, from Team Off-Roll would have been really nice to see. There were some opportunities where I was looking at the map state and I was like, okay, this is a perfect opportunity for Team Off-Roll to get a pick. But they never pull the trigger. They wait. They're not sure of where everyone is, so they don't really consider the map positioning of everyone. Regardless, uh, there is going to be another match tomorrow at 9 p.m. Excuse me, 10 p.m. Toronto time, I believe. So that's EST. Some more League of Legends coming to you soon. However, that's going to be it for us tonight. I was very impressed with the level of gameplay. I think if I had to choose an MVP, I think the mid laner played very well for Team Inters. I forgot his name. That would be
Sarfrost.
Yes, Sarah Foss. That's correct. I think a very clean gameplay there. I was very impressed, especially that Syndra game was beautiful.
Yes, indeed. So we'll be leaving you for tonight and see you tomorrow at 10 p.m.
Have a good night.